Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday and welcome to Conversations with My People. Okay, so today's conversation I'm really excited about. I mean, first of all, we've just got into June. Woo, yay, June's an amazing month. We got through Memorial Day weekend, and I always feel like I'm a New Yorker. I'm an East Coaster by heart, and Memorial Day weekend for New Yorkers is like a really big deal. It's because those 14 weeks of the summer are so important to East Coast people. And when Memorial Day weekend comes, it's like, whoa, it has started. The festivities have started. It's like party has started. It's just the time to let go and enjoy your family, your friends, nature, just do super uber fun things. But this June or Memorial Day has even been bigger because this is a time when we're starting to like nudge into the place where we feel like we're kind of almost in a post-pandemic, right? I don't think we really are, but the feeling is there because the CDC said we're going to take off our masks. We're able to be together. Some of the events are coming, the activities, concerts, sports activities. So we are feeling so good and jazz and it's Pride Month. So it's like everybody's really excited about that. Like there's all these amazing things about June. So this talk is really going to be about like re-entering the world, with a level of consciousness and confidence and connection, like connection to ourself, connection to our friends, connection to the earth, connection to what is, right? So who better to have on than my dear soul sister, Primavera Salvá. And Prima, she's a wellness, she's a yoga extraordinaire. I call her really a spiritual coach, even though she does life coaching, but her life coaching is so soulful because what she does is she helps you connect to the true essence and spirit of who you really are, and then helps you from there to carve out a life that really is aligned with that spirit inside of you that so often we don't connect with. We so often connect to the brain, the mind, the conditioning, and Prima is just like so on point to help you move through that. So welcome, Prima.
Hi, Lavinia. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
Look at
and
that.
Thank you for that kind introduction.
You're so beautiful. I'm so happy to see you across from me. So before we start, we have a ritual where we do these big 3 deep breaths.
Great.
So let's do that together. We just inhale for 4, we hold for 4, and we exhale for 5, all from the nose. So come on, everybody, get yourself grounded, put your feet on the floor, and let's take those big, deep, healthy, joyful, love-filled breath. Let's go. Fill it up. Hold your breath. Smile. Exhale. Inhale, love. Go. Hold your breath. Exhale. One more. Fill those lungs up. Hold your breath. Exhale. Wow. The power of the breath, right? It's amazing. Okay, so Prima, let's just start with that. I know you went away. You had a great weekend. It was the first time. So let's just share with people, because today's really about helping people process. There's been, this has been a crazy 18 months, really, right? And I think now there's some trust issues for people hearing, okay, if you're double vaccinated, you can just go. We're taking off our masks, re-enter the world, go have fun with your people. And I think there's a lot of people that are having very mixed feelings about these things. I know a couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago, I went to a birthday gathering in a beautiful tent. It was in Beverly Hills, and that tent was very social distance. We were probably 20 feet from each other. But then when I left at like 10 o'clock at night, I'm walking down the street, and there's this other big tent in the middle of the street. It's very open. And all of a sudden the music is coming, and I wasn't thinking, I just felt, I got this visceral response. The tables were very close together. Nobody had masks on, I think, other than the waiters. And everybody was drinking and partying, and and I found myself just the room or the sidewalk closing in. And I found my breathing got very shallowed, and I was even got a little lightheaded for a second. And I got into my car and I started to drive away. And actually I went through the first light, and I had to pull my car over to the side, and I said, wait a minute, Lavinia, what's going on here? I had to like kind of lean in to what I was feeling and say, why am I having this visceral feeling to this? And I guess what I felt was, first of all, it's been so long since we've actually seen that energy. It's been so long since have experienced that. And so I think it was the conditioning of the last 18 months that was like, I tried not to, but I was like, oh my God, a super spreader. Like, that's what I was feeling. I felt this moment of like super spreader. And then I'm like, don't be like that. I don't want to be judgy. Like, that doesn't feel good. But on the other hand, I want to feel safe. So let's talk a little bit about the process of all of that, because I think in the next few months, we're going to see all of that. We're going to see these parties where people are just going to, and a lot of people, and none of this. And then you're going to see people walking on the street with masks on still. And, it's being able to process like, what is right for you, right? Like, what is right for me? Everybody's got their own nervous system. Everybody's got their own brain, their own way of processing. And like, I think these are the questions that people are asking themselves now. Like, and of course, the younger people are trying to figure out how to fit in if their beliefs aren't exactly like their peers, without looking like, oh my God, she's like so awkward. She's got the mask, like there's so much. And I so often say to these younger people, gosh, I wish you didn't have to go through this, because being 20 is awkward enough on its own. But now to have to add this dimension onto it, it's like, ooh, like that just makes it that much more challenging. So let's just kind of process that and how we can help people kind of find what's right for them and find their voice, find their way of moving forward,
So yeah, I mean, Lavinia, you just shared so many things, and I keep thinking what you were sharing. I mean, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure to join all your followers here and talk about things that really matter, because actually this is what I love. I love to talk about things that really matter and not just about the weather. And so what you just shared with us, I think it was a moment of acute fear, panic that you went into it. So first of all, kudos for you for being aware that you even went through that, right? And you had to put your car on the side and take a moment to breathe and figure out what is going on. And that's actually the first step of consciousness or mindfulness, right? To awaken ourselves and not be in the automatic. And the pandemic and being in the lockdown, it really put us in a level of fear of the unknown. And what happens when the body enters in fear, right? What happens, our brain starts secreting hormones to protect us, adrenaline, cortisol, so that we can be in the fight or flight mechanism and be ready for any danger that is coming our way. So imagine that our body is able to secrete all these hormones and move us around, but we have been under that fear lockdown for like 18 months. Just think how depleted our bodies are, exhausted. People are not sleeping well. People are issues with weight because all these hormones also make you gain weight, and we're locked down. We're not moving as much, all of that. And severe issues of anxiety and all of that people are developing, right? So now all of a sudden it's like, okay, people are vaccinated, you can walk away, no mask, let's just party and let's be together because we all have been inside, and now it's open the gates and everyone is out. So I think the most important thing that I would say, and I actually, used to tell even my daughter when she was a teenager, starting to go to parties and kids drinking and all of that. And I would say the same to everyone right now. Do what feels right for you.
Right.
And the first thing I would say, do not judge yourself. You mentioned it. You were like, oh, Lavinia, why are you feeling like that? Right? The chatterbox went to you right away to start telling you, you should not be feeling this way. You should feel this way. And that's what we need to turn off. We need to turn off and really go deep inside and see what feels right for me right now in this moment. Tomorrow may be different. And I actually went through that experience. I'm in New York, and when the vaccine started, I was like, I'm not putting that thing in my body. Nobody's going to convince me. I don't believe in this. No, 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 no. And one day, out of the blue, I woke up with this thing right here in my solar plexus. And I told my wife, I'm going to get the vaccine. She looked at me like if I had 5 heads. And she's like, what? You've been saying you don't want it. I said, I want it. I know it. I was determined to get it. This is before it was open to all ages and everything. I started to do research, and in New York, there were these websites, TurboVax, it was called. And you will log in and find out places that they had extra for the day, and they will take you regardless if you had any conditions or age or anything. And I became obsessed for a week. I was in my laptop, like if I was like in Vegas gambling, like putting my name, my information, because you had to fill out all your profile every time and see will stick. And I got the vaccine, but even my friends were like, really, you're gonna get it? I was like, yeah, I want to get it. And it was about what it felt right for me in that moment.
Right.
And I've been feeling, thank God, luckily, perfectly fine with the vaccine. I didn't have any side effects. And I feel safe now walking through New York City. I step out, I live downtown in Soho, and in my block, I'm going to cross 100 people before I cross any street.
Right.
I wasn't feeling that safe before. I still wear a mask, even though it's now in New York, you can leave your mask at home if you're double vaccinated. I still wear a mask. I feel an extra prevention is fine with me. I also have a 9-year-old at home that is not vaccinated, and I want to be safer in any way I can. So whether people tell me, take it off, who cares, you have a vaccine, I don't care. This, what I feel good with myself is what I'm doing, truly.
I love that. I love that you said that, because it does come from you. I mean, I love the fact that you, in the beginning, that you shared with your friends, I'm not really comfortable doing that. I'm not putting that in my body, whatever. And then the fact that one day you woke up and it came through you that this is what was right for you. I mean, and that is really where I think that level of, again, like holding the space for everybody, like like me personally, I'm not there yet. I just, I work with a homeopathic practitioner, and, she's has her views that she's kind of shared with me. So that made me just say, and then it's like, And you know what? I live with a man with compromised immune system. And though my husband has been double vaccinated, I know even if I was vaccinated, I would still have to wear a mask all the time. So I thought to myself, you know what? I'm okay with wearing this mask. Like, to be honest, the mask doesn't really bother me. I actually even find myself driving in the car with it. And I remember in the beginning thinking like, that's so doofy when you see people driving alone with the mask on. But now I feel like it saves my face from getting tan from the windows.
Oh, that's too
Like, I don't know.
funny.
I find like a good thing with it. You know, I'm like, oh no, keeps my lips. Anyway, but yeah, like I'm just at that place where I'm going to be wearing a mask all the time. I mean, I'm aware that I'm not going to be traveling right now, and I wouldn't be. And I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that feeling that you had. Like when I get that feeling, I will do the same
Yeah.
exact thing that you will do. I know that. Like I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not that person that's like, poo poo, I'm not putting that in my body. Like that's just not my, it's not my energy, you know? I'm just not feeling it yet. Like, and once I
Yeah.
feel it and I feel that and then I will move forward with that. And that's always like, those are even awkward conversations. Like I went for lunch a couple of weeks ago with two women, and I asked for a table of 8 for the 3 of us. And I just said to them, they've been vaccinated. So I went to the other side, and, you know, I had to listen for like 15 minutes on, you know, their story about why I needed to be vaccinated and why I needed to be.
Yeah,
And, you know,
no.
and I held the space for them because I could hear all their fear. It was a lot of fear, a lot of fear. And I held the space. And then finally, after about 12 minutes, I was like, ladies, could we talk about something else? Because, you know, and they were like, oh my God, like, I'm sorry. We were really going off on it. I'm like, it's totally fine. But, you know, it's to be able to have conversations like that and friends, and that that you can be honest with and have that, because, you know, I really believe that if you're going to put something in your body, you have to be putting it in, saying, okay, this is good for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I was getting the vaccine, I asked the nurse, I said, can I hold it? She was like, I don't know. And I said, okay, I don't need to hold it. And I put my hands around it and I blessed. The same way I have the ritual to bless my food, my water before I drink it, I bless the vaccine. And I said, this vaccine is going to bring me nothing but perfect health into my body, full
Right.
balance and equilibrium and harmony in my body with this vaccine. And that was that. She was like, oh, okay. And I got the vaccine. And like I said, luckily, I didn't get anything. But talking about, you were saying about your friends, this idea of peer pressure, right? This is what I said, you know, I used to tell my older daughter when she started to go out to parties, like, don't listen to people because kids want you to drink more or try this new thing or whatever. It's a little bit like that. We have to be present to ourselves. And I one of the practices I teach is mindfulness, meditation, breath work. And I was just preparing for this chat, and I researched the actual definition of mindfulness, which I will read to you. So mindfulness is the practice of observing what is occurring inside and outside of ourselves in each moment.
Mm.
So mindfulness is the practice of observing what is happening outside and inside you every moment. And I think more than ever in these moments, in these times, mindfulness is a practice that is very well suited for our survival, right? For our protection, for learning how to reconnect, how to re-enter the world, being present to yourself about what are you feeling in this moment? Are you feeling comfortable? I mean, I felt an urge to put the vaccine, to get the vaccine. It wasn't a thought that maybe, no, it was an urge. I became obsessed with it. I had to have it. I had to have it no matter what. And that's what I was feeling. And I honor that. I respected that. and going to parties. For example, I was sharing with you, we took our second trip, actually. We went to California before, but this long weekend we went to Wyoming. And we were noticing in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, it's a small town, mostly I would say semi-rural town, and nobody was wearing masks. And I was with friends from New York, fully vaccinated. We were the only people with masks walking around. So as we started to talk to locals, we asked, how come people are not wearing masks? And people were like, it's all fine. We had 16 cases of COVID in 18 months. We're fine. We're safe. And who am I to judge them? They feel safe. They're doing what they need to do. I was doing what I needed to do. And I feel safer wearing a mask when I was not sitting in a restaurant. When I was walking down the street, I had my mask. And yes, we got a few looks like a mask. It's okay. It reminded me actually the first time back in March last year, I was in the supermarket the first time before the lockdown. I was in the supermarket and people were buying like 3 beers, chips. I was buying like cans of food, milk, a pound of rice. I was thinking, we're going into the real lockdown, right? I was the only one in the supermarket with a mask and gloves. And people were looking at me like, she must have it, walking away from me. And guess what? I felt even safer that they were moving away from me. At least I was not being exposed in any way.
Right.
So really, really in these moments is about trusting what you're feeling. But before, you have to be in touch with yourself, right? You
Right.
have to be present for yourself. What are the feelings you have? What are the thoughts? And also, how are you feeding yourself? Not only food. As you share, my passion is to talk about the soul and the spirit. So we're body, mind, and soul. How are you feeding your mind? Are you just listening to fake news all day? Are you engaging in conversations with your friends that is all about borderline gossiping? My friend told me that this happened to somebody and the uncle died and the other one. There's a little bit of, we want to know more. And it's very sticky, all these conversations of tragedy. And yes, tragedy happened. And we're not here to ignore it or pretend it's not happening. But we should not indulge in those conversations because we're only feeding the fear again and again and again.
Yeah.
So how are you feeding your mind? What kind of music are you listening to? Social media, YouTube, anything like that. We need to be really checking out our sources. That's one thing. And how are you feeding your soul, right? How much do you have the need for connection? And who are you connecting with? Through the pandemic, one of the gifts that I have received is that I've been teaching meditation and all these things for 20 years in New York City. And with the pandemic, I started to teach online. And one of the things that I love to do is the new moon and full moon rituals.
Yeah.
And being connected and understanding the moon every 2 weeks moves into full or new, and it gives you a different set of gifts. It creates a different room for us, a different environment. There are environments where are about going out and be with friends. There are environments about going deep inside to heal trauma. There are environments about being effective and work so you can make money, create prosperity, abundance. So there are different environments, right? And like I said, one of the gifts of the pandemic for me has been doing these rituals online. And every 2 weeks, you were one of my guests, by the way, I remember that.
It was amazing.
Every 2 weeks come together and we have 50, 60, mostly women, people online. And I always ask them, open your camera, see each other. This is our opportunity to connect. Even though we're not touching each other, real flesh, we're seeing each other's eyes. I'm seeing you, you're there, I am here, we're going through the same. And that connection is key for us. So as we begin to emerge into the real world and have real connections, I would say choose who you're going to connect with first. Who is going to feed, who's going to feed your soul? Who can you feed your soul? Who's going to uplift you to feel better? You know that friend is the one who's going to come and tell you all the bad things that had happened that she read, and all these trashy papers or trashy websites, whatever, and is going to be so indulgent and sticky to be talking about disasters. How are you going to feel walking away from that conversation? And why would you put yourself through that?
So I agree with what you're saying. And then the other thing I've noticed is that a lot of people have actually discovered a lot of truths about themselves. And now what's emerged is like some new things about them. Like just an example, like I'm going to a wedding this weekend, and I was invited to this wedding a year ago because this wedding was supposed to be last June. It was going to be 250 people. And now the couple did get married. They got married last June with just 10 people, just the two immediate families. And now this time they're having a celebration, and it's 75 people. It's all outside. But the point is, my friend was telling me about it. She's like, God, you know what, Lavinia, like, this is actually the wedding. She's the mother of the groom. She goes, this is actually the wedding I would have loved to have had, just with 75 people. She said, but but you feel pressured to have a bigger wedding because this one invited me to their son's wedding and that one invited me to their son's wedding. And like, before you know it, you have this wedding of 250 people. But really what would have been great right from the beginning is 75. And I'm listening to that and I'm like, yeah, COVID has given us permission to blame it on COVID, to actually have more of an authentic experience of what we really prefer. I was talking to a woman that I mentor. She went out on Friday night with some friends, or Sunday with friends. And, she's an amazing athlete. But she's single, like recently divorced. And so they went for an early dinner, which she loved. And then they stopped by this party, and she got to the party and she said, I was ready to leave after 10 minutes. It was just way too many people. It was too much for her. And she's like, I just said to everybody, the girls, I'm just really uncomfortable here. It's just not, it's too much too soon. I'm having a moment, kind of like the kind of moment I had. And she said, Lavinia, I was home in bed by 9:00. And she said, and that would actually be the night that I'd love to design for myself. Start early, go to bed early. She's like, and that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm not going to get caught up in those old behavioral patterns that we did. Because now it's like, and I'm listening and I'm like, this is amazing. Like, people have gotten clarity on who they are. They've gotten more clarity on their truth. And because COVID has been very easy, it's been a scapegoat for things, like I'm sorry, we can't COVID, or no, we can't, we have to keep it small, COVID. But then we realize when we have these more intimate gatherings, it's like, wow, that was really amazing. I know for me, I happen to like I love people. So the more the merrier. I mean, I come from a large family. There was 8 in my immediate family. Everybody brought a friend. And you literally had a party, right? So for more the merrier, keep inviting. And when I would have dinner parties, I would tend to always have, I'd fill up the table with as many people that could fit at the table, would be the dinner parties. And they were really fun and everything. But what I was noticing when we were starting to go back socially and we were have a dinner party, it was only one other couple. And by the end of the night, it was like I really knew them better. Like I knew things about them that I didn't know before because it was only the two of us. There were no distractions other than us. There wasn't like that. And I realized, like, you know what? I'm going to move forward with that because that level of intimacy fills my heart, right?
Yeah. I think COVID has been a bit of like a microscope,
Yes. Yeah.
right? There have been couples that I know that now they're more in love than ever, and couples that were like, okay, I'm ready to never see you again, because it had put us in a limited space, right? Where we had no choice but to look at ourselves, to look at the person we have in front, and to really analyze our lives. And what you're saying about quality in the relationships, also because we have limited opportunities for connection. And that's why I say choose right without judging yourself. Choose who's gonna uplift you. Choose who is gonna bring joy to your life right now, rather than who's gonna put you down and make you feel depressed. Why?
Right.
So, and perhaps you do it out of compassion to your friend because you're the one that's gonna uplift your friend, right? It works both ways. But yeah, COVID has been definitely a microscope, but also for me, because I always speak about how we all are co-creating our reality, right? So we all have different circumstances in life that we can control. But what we do with those circumstances is what matters. Buddhists say that we all going to experience pain in life. What we do with pain is what matters. And that's what we're going through right now. What we do with this fear is what matters. We
Yeah.
can choose to just live in a state of panic and become germophobic and continue with the alcohol and the spray and all that. We can, yes. And you still can do that and not be in a state of panic.
Yeah.
Because we have to remember that when we're in a state of panic and fear, it's actually putting stress into ourselves. We're aging at the cellular level. So it is in our best interest to cultivate our longevity and health, to not be in a state of fear.
Right.
And you very wisely do it very simply with the breath that you do. You do inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 5. So when we exhale, we're actually letting go of fear, because you really never know if the next breath is going to come in. That's really what it means to exhale. So when we focus on the exhalation being longer than the inhalation or the holding, we're actually working in releasing fear. That's what it is. So even doing those 3 breaths every time we are in a space that we don't feel comfortable, just step aside, pretend you're on a phone call, go to the bathroom, take a couple of breaths where your exhalation is longer than the inhalation, and just collect yourself. Find the peace within that can help you deal with the circumstances in that moment.
Yeah.
Again, it's what we do with the circumstances that matters. We can build houses with the same tools that we can destroy houses with the same
Absolutely.
tools. Fire can create amazing meals for us, and fire can destroy things as well. So how we deal with life, I think, is what matters right now, and how you are acting from a place of connection with your soul and yourself.
Right. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's how we show up, right? It's like how we show up for ourselves. And if you don't have that patience and tolerance and self-love, and it's impossible to have it for somebody else.
That's
You know,
absolutely right. Yeah.
really impossible. I mean, I know. So it really always comes back to self. Like, am I being self-loving here?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the techniques, if you want to call it techniques, that I always share with my students is our chatterbox is always going to tell us things to protect us because our brains are wired for survival. So it's always going to tell us, oh, don't cross the street, there may be a car. And what do? You look if there is a car and you cross the street, right? So when that fear comes, you need to check your facts. Is it really happening? Is it real what this person is saying? Should I trust the source? And most importantly, is to not judge yourself. We're in a time that we need to treat each other as we are our best friend.
Yeah.
You know, I have caught myself going down the street telling myself, oh, you're so stupid. Why did you just say that? Why do you do that? And then I go, wait a minute. Would I treat my friends like that? Would I say to anybody with those words, why are you so stupid? Why do you do that? Never.
Right.
So what gives me the right to treat myself in that way?
Right.
We must treat ourselves as we are our best friend at all times. So would you treat your friend and say, hey, are you silly having a panic attack right now? What is wrong with you? No, you will tell your friend, okay, let's just take it easy, take a deep breath. Let's find the space within, let's find peace. You know, treat yourself as you're your best friend at all times. And that's how we develop self-love, self-compassion, kindness, and all of those things.
You know, I think you're right on. I know sometimes, like, when I'm around the people who are giving me a hard time for not being vaccinated or whatever, and there are times like I want to start spewing out some information that I have and from very reliable sources, you know, and in the beginning I did that because I went on the defense. Like I felt like I had to defend my position. I had to defend it. And then I saw like one person in particular who I shared some of this information, and you know what? It really it messed with them because they got the vaccine and now they were, oh my God, I'm going to have this. Da, 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 da. And you know, when they said to me, and you really like, I wish you wouldn't have told me that. And I was like, I am so sorry. And at that moment, I realized I'll never share this. Like, because what is my intention? Like, what is my intention to share this information that I've had, was one of the reasons why I chose not to, with people after they've been vaccinated. Like, it's mean, but I was like, because they were hounding me, or, you know,
you had to defend yourself.
I had to defend myself. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, I'm done. Like, I am not going to defend my position, you know, and I just pretty much have said to people, like, listen, I don't want to talk about politics and I don't want to talk about the vaccine. And I'm just going to wear, I don't even say if I have been or haven't been vaccinated, just said I'm just more comfortable wearing a mask.
Yeah.
You know, so that's another thing, like to constantly think, like I've even said to people, like, what is your intention of telling me the story?
That's a good point.
And I say it very lovingly and kindly. I'm not like, girl, what's your intention? You know, it's like, because so much tone is such a big part of it. And if you're thinking like, if you actually, because I used to do this, I used to think I knew what their intention was.
Oh.
And that gets you like, because they can feel it. Like people can feel if you're being like purely in the heart, you know, if you're being like sarcastic about like what exactly, but like I would just say like, you know, I'm curious, like I want to know, like, what is your intention of sharing this with me? I mean, I know you know that I do my research. And then, you know, I've had a couple of people say, you know, Lavinia, it's just out of fear.
Yeah.
You know, it's just out of fear. I'm gonna no reason to do that. So it's like, the more we connect to ourselves, connect to our truth, and be able to say, like I was sharing with my little niece who's here, and she went down south and was with some friends, and one of her friends was like not very nice to her about this whole vaccine. They don't believe in the vaccines, they don't believe in this, they don't believe in that, and she's double vaxxed with a mask on. And at 20 years old, and the girl was being like not so nice. She was being a little bullyish with her, and I said, she told me how she felt, and I said, well, how could you? So I said, maybe you could just say to her, I don't know if you realize how sad it makes me feel when you're, being like this. And she's like, yeah, I could say that to her. Sometimes like we just have to have that, but the last thing she wants is to lose this person as a friend over a mask.
Totally. But you said something very important. You said, when you asked your friend about what is intention, and she actually had a moment to think, her intention was coming from a place of fear, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a place of fear because I love you so much, Lavinia. I don't want anything to happen to you. And then also fear because what if I made the wrong decision by getting the vaccine, right? Again, it's fear.
Oh, there was so much fear. The fear of like,
yeah,
if people don't get, remind me later, I have something coming up on my thing. Oh, wait a minute. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. Something happened on my computer. It's always something. Anyway, it's also the fear of like, oh my God, if people aren't vaccinated, there's always going to be a host. If there's a host, like there's just so many layers.
Yeah.
It's so many layers. And I think, and
like, that's what I was saying. We can only try to control. I'm not saying we can even control how we respond to fear. Right? How we respond to the fear that you're not getting the vaccine, that I got the vaccine, that the person across the street is coughing with no mask, how we respond.
Right.
That's what it is. And now re-entering the world, I had also an experience about 2 months ago. Even though I had the vaccine, I was with a friend and we thought, we have not seen each other in 18 months. She has a daughter, my daughter's age, and we said, let's go for ice cream and maybe we go to Washington Square. We get to Washington Square and we both were like, what is going on here? Like they opened the gates, there were crowds with no mask and people screaming, and it was very overwhelming. Even the girls were like next to us in the bench looking at each other. We're all with masks, people no masks anymore. And it was shocking. So in a way of re-entering, I would say, go in concentric circles. How are you going to re-enter the world, right? You don't go to the 50,000 people concert day one because chances are you're going to have a panic attack there. You don't want to do that. I would say, go in small circles. Who is your closest friends that you have been monitoring for 18 months, that you've been talking to, that you know how they live, that you respect how they are dealing with the pandemic and all of that. And maybe, a gathering of 10 people, and maybe next time is 50. And maybe in that way you can expand. I think in New York right now, the limit is 250 people in a room. And I don't think I've been in a room with 250 people. I was in a room with like 100 people. And it was half open, half terrace, and it was a gathering. And vaccination cards were required or negative test. So I felt very comfortable. I didn't wear my mask. 100 people, everyone had a negative test or a vaccine card. So it's how you're going to start entering the world into different environments and how safe you feel. And I think that is what can help you to gain confidence, how you're re-entering the world.
Yeah. And I think also like time, like give yourself a limit. Maybe the first time out, it's like what I did my first time out is I had the girls come, we did the backyard, and I was like, just come for a cocktail. I didn't make it a big dinner, and we did a cocktail hour. And, so you have to build, like, you just have to kind of build that trust. And because I think if you immerse yourself into something, I mean, I have been in a situation where I was like, oh gosh, I hope I'm fine. Like, like you're in the car driving afterwards and you're like, oh God, please, like, please. Like,
your Italian side kicks in.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I was like, and then, truthfully, if I'm not 100% sure, like, even though everybody was healthy, everybody was tested, everybody was, I sleep in the other bedroom for a few days. And I kind of wear the mask in my house. Like, I'm going to go away.
And you need to trust that. And that's it. And not judge yourself.
When I come back, I'm going to go in the other room. I'm going to keep the mask on. I'm testing before I leave. I'm testing when I get back. And then I'm going to test like 6 days later. Yeah. And I'm going to be kind of like in a quarantine here when I come back. And I think that's another thing. You just have to start, like, you got to create boundaries and then you live by them. It's like, you have to be disciplined about it. Like, if you're going to say, I'm not going to take off my mask if we're not 6 feet away, like, but then everybody does it, then you're like, all right, that's done. Like, you have to stay true to who you are. Like, what I do is I just pull my chair back. Like, I pull my chair back a little bit further if the table's not big enough. I mean, honestly, like, there's times I'm like eating like this, like my head the other way. I mean, I've pulled my chair back away so that I'm, about 6 feet from that person. When we take our masks off, there was a joke here which says, oh, when you sit, COVID quits. Like, like as if everybody's wearing the mask.
Oh, I see.
When you sit, COVID quits. It's like,
that's true.
Wait a minute. Like, what happened? Like, everybody's worried. And then when you sit down at the table, like, we're good. So you just have to be aware of some of the things that we fall into. Because for somebody like me that has a little bit of anxiety, that worrying can just exacerbate, so.
And what do? You go back to your breathing. You go back to find your North Star within. Yes. Because also fear lowers your immune system, weakens your immune system. And you don't want to do that. Right. You want to make sure that you're confident, you feel good about the decisions you're making and how you're moving forward.
Right. Well, this is amazing. I feel so good about this. I know I want to invite everybody from our community to I think it's June 9th, right?
Yes, I have a moon ritual on June 9th. This will be a new moon in Gemini, sorry. I said it in Spanish. In Gemini. So I invite you to come. I always post everything in Instagram. You can follow me on transform_with_love, transform with love.
But when you get the little flyer that you make, if you send it, then we'll put it on laviniaerico.com as well.
So that'll be amazing. Thank you.
Everybody wants to look around the 7th.
It's going to be the 9th, Wednesday the 9th. And it's all my rituals are by donation. And all the proceeds are always given away to a cause that has something to do with the work we're doing, because it's not only about the spirit, but to be able to bring your spirit into matter and make a difference in the world. Like when you and I did it together, that full moon, it was about having joy and bringing joy into the world. That's why you were my guest, because you're all about joy. And we gave the donations to a non-for-profit that was bringing toys to children because it was around Christmas. So every single moon ritual has a connection to how we can be the change we want to see in the world. And also I always have a guest that has a gift related to that moon.
I love that. So
Oh.
this one is Gemini.
Gemini.
Oh, good. All right. Well, Prima, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have an amazing week. Be confident, have conscious, be mindful about how you're moving forward. And most importantly, like have fun and connect with your joy and your soul. All right. We'll see you in a few weeks. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.